Hey, it's Dave from Baking with Fox Hollow Kitchen, and today you're in for a very sweet treat because today I'm going to show you how to make baklava, only on Baking with Fox Hollow Kitchen. My Fox Hollow fam, I'm Dave and welcome to Baking with Fox Hollow Kitchen. Well, today you're in for a treat. I'm going to try a recipe that I've wanted to do again for a long time. Today we're going to make baklava. It's sweet, it's nutty, little bite-sized pieces, you're going to love it. And it's perfect for the holidays. So if you're ready, then let's have some fun. Okay, well the first thing we need to do for our baklava, we need to chop up some nuts. So as you can see, I got my food processor out. We're going to take about a pound of walnuts and pecans together.
Okay.
And we're going to chop them up really fine.
Now, Dave, for anybody at home who has never had baklava, what exactly is it?
It is hard to describe. It's a layered treat that has nuts and honey in it, and it's with phyllo dough.
Okay.
Okay. So it's really good if you know how to make it. It does take a little bit of work, but it's awesome, and it does keep for a week or so. Okay. So you can make it ahead of time for the holidays.
Yeah, and we're all about helping you come up with some new ideas for the holiday seasons.
Right. So I'm going to pulse these until they're pretty fine. Let's see how we got here.
I think that looks pretty good there.
That's pretty finely chopped. Excellent.
Okay.
And we're going to throw these in a bowl, and I'm just going to keep doing this with the pecans and walnuts that I have.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
And we will move on then. Okay, once we got our nuts chopped up here really fine, as you can see, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of cinnamon. Doesn't have to be a lot.
Okay. Now, Dave, where does baklava come from?
I believe baklava comes from the Middle East. Travelers in the Middle East used to carry with them like nuts and honey for the trip. It was an old version of trail mix, perhaps.
Oh, really?
You know, and they used to carry it with them all the time. And we're going to set this aside then. That's about all preparation we're going to do for our nuts. We're going to set these aside and move on.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a syrup. We are going to start with 3/4 cup of water. And we're going to turn our stove up to medium heat here, our burner. To that we're going to add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. That's about 1 lemon. 1 cup of sugar in our saucepan here. And then a 1/2 cup of honey. Get it all in there. And then I'm going to slowly bring this to a boil over medium heat. Okay, so as you can see, our honey mixture is boiling. I'm going to turn it down to simmer it and let it simmer here for about 4 minutes without stirring it during this time. Okay, so our syrup has been bubbling here for about 4 or 5 minutes. I'm going to take it off the heat and just set it aside, and we will come back to it later. That'll give it plenty of time to cool down to room temperature, which is what we want. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do here is I have a package of phyllo dough which is thawed out, and I let it sit out on the counter here for about an hour to get up close to room temperature. And I am going to unroll this. And we're going to have to cut it to fit our pan, which is 13 by 9. It's just, there we go, that's perfect. And this phyllo dough is as thin as tissue paper. It really is. We're going to roll it out. Let's see if we can get it to unroll perfectly here. Okay, that's getting there. So now what we need to do is measure this a little bit and see how wide it is and how tall it is. I need it to be 9 by 13. And if I look at my bottom here, it's about 9 inches, but near the top it's more like 9.5. And it is just over 13 inches long. So I'm gonna have to trim it down just a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is take a sharp knife and we're gonna cut a little bit off of this. It's easier with a sharp knife than with scissors, believe me. Just wanna cut it there. Get a little bit off of here so that's 9 inches. And then we're gonna cut it to 13. Let me see how far that is. Always measure twice and cut once. About 1/2 inch, we'll make it 1/4 inch smaller. So about there. We're gonna cut it right about here. Okay, and we'll take that up. The other thing about this phyllo dough is it dries out very quickly. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw a wet towel over it, a damp towel anyway, not totally wet, but damp when we're not using it. Okay, so now we're gonna assemble our baklava. This gets to be a complicated process, but it's really actually quite simple. It's just repetitive. What we're gonna do is I have a 2 1/4 a cup and 1/4 of melted butter here, which is 2 1/2 sticks of butter. And the first thing we're going to do is spread this butter evenly as we can over the bottom and sides of a 13 by 9 cake pan. Just want to get that butter all in there. Get some in the top and sides. And now I've seen recipes where they use clarified butter, meaning you boil the fat off and skim the fat off the top of the butter. I'm not doing that. I'm just using regular butter. I'm going to get the sides as well here. Don't want anything sticking to the sides. Very good. We're going to be doing a lot of this, so just make sure we got everything here on this. Okay? Then the next thing we're going to do is take some of our phyllo dough, which is sitting here, and we're going to peel off one sheet of it. Like I said, it's as thin as tissue paper. We're going to peel off one sheet and stick it in here. Get it sort of pressed out evenly. And then we're going to brush that down with butter. Like starting in the center and moving our way out and just sort of brushing it down with butter.
Mm-hmm. Now, Dave, would you say butter's a pretty key component to it?
Yes. Butter is one of the main components of this baklava.
Okay.
You know, you have to have the butter or it's not going to work. And we're just going to spread some butter over this. Get it nice and wet with the butter. And then we'll take one more sheet. And Todd's here so he can count these. I want 10 sheets altogether. This is number 2.
Now, why do you want 10 sheets then?
It forms a good base for our baklava.
Okay.
This is kind of like we made the croissants the other week. This is kind of like that. It's a puffy dough, and the butter is what makes it puffy. So you want a good base for it with 10 good sheets to start with.
Okay.
So we're just going to count out. I'm going to cover this with butter. And then do sheet number 3. And we'll just continue on like this until we have 10 sheets put to the bottom with butter between each one.
Okay.
Okay? Alright, so I've got 10 sheets here that have butter on them. Butter in between all of them. We're going to take about 2/3 of a cup of our nuts and sprinkle over the top. Get them nice and even here. 2/3 to 3/4 of a cup of the nuts. Spread them all out nice. I have a 1/3 cup scoop here, that's how I know what I'm getting. Okay. Give me another 1/3. Just spread them all out there evenly. Get them all nice and even on there. Okay. And then I'm going to put another 5 sheets down on top of the nuts. We're going to do 5 sheets on top of the nuts, again with butter on each one. And we're going to do this 5 sheets and then nuts, and then 5 sheets and then nuts. We're going to do this 4 times, so we have 4 sets of 5 sheets. Again, butter on each one. And this gets a little hard because it doesn't want to stick to the nuts. You just want to butter it and get it in there, okay? And then we'll move on and just keep going. Okay, so that's 5. And now we're going to do another, like 2/3 cup of nuts right on top here. And then 5 more with butter. And we're going to do 4 sets of 5 layers, just like this. Okay, so that's 4 sets of 5 layers. I'm going to add another layer of my nuts on here. Ended up with a good plenty amount of nuts, so I'm going to add a little extra layer here. Spread this out. And now for this, to end it all, we are going to add 10 layers just like the bottom and top it with butter each time, including the last one. There we go. I'm going to put one more sheet down. And we're going to do 10. Alright, I got my last layer here. Make sure it's nice and buttered. And the last thing we need to do before we put this in the oven, let's make some room here. This is all ready to go. Last thing we're going to do is cut it before we bake it. Because it's baklava, you have to cut it before you bake it. So we're going to start by cutting right down the middle here with a really sharp knife. Just cut right down the middle. Okay. And then again, just like that. Okay. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to try to go diagonally through here. Start about here, and we'll cut diagonally. And what we want are little diamond shapes. And that is it. We're going to pop this in the oven for 1 hour and 15 minutes at 325 degrees until it's nice and golden brown on top. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to do here is we're going to take our syrup that we made and we're going to spoon it over the top. Just like that. Get it all over there. And you can hear it sizzle. I don't know if you can hear that. That little sizzle is what we want to hear. Alright, and that's the last of our syrup. So what we're going to do is we're going to let these sit for at least 6 hours or overnight. Just out in the air. You don't have to cover them. You don't want to refrigerate them or anything like that. They'll get soggy. So just leave them out uncovered for about 6 hours or overnight, and then they'll be fine. And now for the best part, the taste test. I'm going to take a little piece here that I made. Oh, that is so delicious and nutty. The little bit of lemon adds a perfect zest to it. You guys are going to love it. Wrapping up today, I want to thank you all for joining us and encourage you to check out our friends and support channels listed in the description below. But before I go, always remember, good times and good food only on Baking with Fox Hollow Kitchen. We'll see you soon.
If you like this video or any of our other videos,
Be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons and stay tuned for future shows.